Hey, the Hulkamaniacs, the Hulkster here. I want to tell you about my European trip that I had back in the day. Did you know that I met Queen Elizabeth II back in the day? Don't boo, I'm telling the truth. Did you also know when I was in England, William Hartnell, when he was the doctor on Doctor Who, he traveled to see me wrestle Randy Savage in London? Don't boo the truth. I don't lie to you. Also, when I was in England, I played a set with the Beatles, and then I went over to France and I hung with Napoleon Bonaparte. Booing just tells me you can't handle the truth. Well, I'll tell you one truth, brother. Greg and Dane are coming up with a new episode of Squared Circle Time Machine starting right now, brother. And you're gonna love every minute of it. Or else my name isn't Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Well, everybody, we're going to be taking a ride around the world to some of the most exotic destinations on the planet in the Squared Circle Time Machine. We're going to go to Paris. We're going to tour London. We're going to make a stop in Tokyo. For some reason, we're going to make a stop at the Nassau Coliseum. But we're also going to be at Madison Square Garden. So I guess that makes up for it. Greg here with Dane, and Dane, I have to talk about the big story that everyone in the professional wrestling world is talking about.
Okay, which is what now?
The last half hour of AEW Collision being, like, eaten by whatever WB Discovery tape machine is out there. Okay, behind the scenes here. Me and Chica were recording our live show for Meet the Deedles, and we were recording it during Collision because I was looking for the hockey game between Dallas and Winnipeg, and I didn't see it was on TNT, and I didn't see it was on ESPN. I knew it wasn't on TNT because Collision was airing, but ESPN was airing NCAA regional softball, and I was like, where the heck is the game? And I was like, oh, it's probably on ABC. So that's where it was on. But I did see the one segment they did, the Mongo tribute, which was kind of nice. But then I just flipped it off. And then I heard later, oh, yeah, nobody saw the last half hour of Collision.
Oh, man. Did Tony spill his Coke and accidentally wipe out the last half hour for them, or what the heck did he do?
Oh, you got me. But the hilarious part was they ended it early so TNT could air Black Adam.
Final Boss making Final Boss moves, perhaps.
Oh my God. Yeah, this was all Dwayne's master plan. That's probably why he didn't show up at Mania. He was too busy wondering how he could fuck up Collision.
David Zaslav, Dwayne, I got an idea here. I know you guys you probably have buyer's remorse for this AEW stuff. What if the Final Boss helps erase one of their programs off the air for about half an hour? And we can plug one of my bad movies on there instead.
Remember when I said that the hierarchy of the DC universe was about to change before James Gunn said that doesn't work for me, brother?
Also, I guess in a little bit happier AEW news, we're getting a pay-per-view here in Canada, I guess. We're getting All Out in September.
Oh, yeah.
In Toronto.
Toronto, yeah.
Yeah. As if between 7th game series loss isn't bad enough for the city. Now they're going to get I'll give them the credit this time. At least All Out isn't like 2 weeks after All In, so it's going to be affordable for the people that still support this. Have to make the hard decision between All In or All Out.
I never understood why they had a pay-per-view, and then 2 weeks later, they had another pay-per-view. That always made no sense to me.
And then also, I think as well as then they would do the Grand Slam thing there too, like at the Arthur Ashe 2 weeks after it as well. 2 pay-per-views and a special events all within 6 weeks of each other.
Yeah, that's Tony for you.
Yeah, that's must be getting a good rating on his TEW score then doing that, I guess.
Hey, he's got those 11 billion max viewers according to Dave.
Oh God, yes.
Oh, by the way, I should point out the fact that it took like 3 days for the episode of Collision to come up on Max after the whole snafu with the last half hour being missing proves that there are not 11 billion people watching AEW on Max, because if there was, I'm sure the Max people would have gotten that episode up right away.
Not so much at that too, but you would think that WBD would be clamoring from the bell towers that we're getting SmackDown level numbers for Dynamite on Max, if you believe Dave Meltzer.
I don't know. Is Tony sharing his coke with him?
I'm guessing it's either that or, like I said, Dave's got secondhand CTE from watching too many Young Bucks matches. I don't know.
Well, we do have a pay-per-view from AEW coming up this week. It'll be on the same day as the NXT PLE on Peacock. We got AEW Double or Nothing 2025. And this year it's not in Vegas, obviously, because Vegas had WrestleMania. So they decided to hold it in Arizona?
Okay, because when I think about the whole gambling thing, I think of the desert and all the other old people from New York go and retire instead of Florida.
You know, I think there might be a lot of Native American casinos in Arizona, so I guess it might make sense.
I guess, yeah, I guess I forgot about them.
Although I think if you were going to hold it, I would probably hold it in, say, Atlantic City at the convention center, or maybe Reno. I kind of would like to see a pay-per-view in Reno.
Yeah, that would be fun.
But hey, we got the finals of the men's and women's Owen tournament, and let's be quite honest, it's going to be Will Ospreay and friggin' Mercedes winning, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much a foregone conclusion. And like I said, Dave will declare this the greatest tournament since the Super J Cup of like '94 or whatever.
What is the main event for this show? Because I have no idea.
Isn't it? I think it's the Anarchy in the Arena with Swerve and Plumber Moxley, I guess. I don't know.
Let's see. There's only 6 matches announced.
Oh, wow. So then we're going to have about 6 more unannounced that will just fill up the rest of the show, I guess.
Yeah, probably. Let me see. We have the Hurt Syndicate against Dustin and Sammy for the tag titles. That could be good.
Yeah, I've been liking this. The only thing is, why is all of a sudden Jewish, white, Long Island's suburban boy MJF now hanging out with the Hurt Syndicate?
I guess they made him an honorary black person.
Much like when Owen Hart joined the Nation.
FTR against Daniel Garcia and Nigel McGuinness. Wait, Nigel is wrestling on this show?
Nigel's wrestling, period? I thought he was not allowed to anymore. Other than, I know he had his one appearance there at one of the Wembley All-Ins, but I thought he had, unless, does Tony have like Dr. Nick Riviera as the company physician to give the okay for all these people to suddenly wrestle again?
He must have gone to frickin' Danielson's physician. I don't know. Oni against Mina Shirakawa for the AEW women's title. I gotta say, I would be really excited about that match because I love both of them.
Yeah.
And then, I think we're gonna be looking forward to this match, a stretcher match between Mark Briscoe and Ricochet.
Hopefully this means we can get Ricochet on the stretcher, strapped down, and please take him right straight to Boston Mass and straight to Chris Nowinski right now so he can just study that brain right now.
But take his phone away. We could just strap him down, like tie him up, take his phone away. He can go without Twitter for a week. We could take him to a detox facility, like hold an intervention, and start to get normal again.
And then talk to Samantha and tell her too as well to pull the router out of the hall of your home.
Yeah, just stop posting on freaking that app in general. Like I said with Dave, geez, get off it. Go to Blue Sky like normal people.
Blue Sky or Threads. If you still want to be a bootlicker, go on Truth Social, I guess.
Or if you want to post where nobody will see it, go to Mastodon. I do. Let's now go on a world tour. So we did a Coliseum video recently. We did Paul Bear's Hits from the Crypt. And this was uploaded to the Vault channel 3 weeks ago on April 27th. And this tape was so fun to watch. We thought, hey, let's do an episode about this tape here. So this is WWF World Tour 1990. And we're going to be covering various matches from around 1989 to 1990 on this tape.
Yeah. The timelines really seemed a little screwy. The order of matches and stuff like that seemed really screwy as we'll talk more about them in it, because it just seemed weird, more so because you had Warrior and DiBiase in Tokyo there, and Warrior was WWF champion, but then you had Hogan and Savage in Paris there where Hogan was champion. And also still had Elizabeth as his manager, and then I think we just had Sherry just started being Savage's manager around that time too. So,
and I think also we have Tony announcing some matches. I think he might have already been gone for the company by then.
Yeah. Plus, we still had Jim Duggan as the King.
Yes,
winning the kingship off Haku somehow.
Oh yeah, I can't believe Haku didn't squash Jim Duggan in like 3 minutes to Scott Cuscolo's chagrin, but oh well. Well, let's get this tape started, shall we?
Yes, we shall.
We start with Sean Mooney welcoming us to this tape. He tells us we're going to see some exciting things on this tape. We're going to see a profile about Jimmy Snuka. We're going to have various matches, including Warrior and DiBiase from Tokyo. We have Hacksaw, and we have the Rockers in Paris wrestling the Rougeaus with TEMU, Jules Staite, and a pink wig accompanying them.
Yes, and I think also when we talk about that match, there's also a similar girl wearing a blue wig who accompanies the Rougeaus and Jimmy Hart.
Yeah. But also, Dane, we're going to have Lord Alfred Hayes show us around all the exciting locations in Europe.
Yes. His old stomping grounds, if you will.
Yeah. So why don't we get this tape started? We're going to go to the Nassau Coliseum for the first of two Jimmy Snuka matches, unfortunately, as Jimmy Snuka is taking on Boris Zukov. And for some reason, Boris Zukov's being managed by Jimmy Hart.
Yeah, and in a single match as well, too, without Nikolai Volkov.
I'm guessing they might have done a matinee or something earlier that night that Slick was at, or he was sick.
Sick or confused. Why would a pimp who has connections to the Colombian drug cartel be managing communists?
I don't know.
And I guess now we found someone who's lower in terms of the jobbing order in WWF to Jimmy Snuka in Boris Zukov in this match.
Yeah. I think this match was taped for MSG Network because I know when PTBN did their Vintage Vault series of podcasts from the Hulkamania timeline on the Place to Be podcast, like maybe about 6 or 7 years ago. Around this time, MSG was going under renovation. They had some of the house shows from Coliseum take the place of MSG house shows on MSG Network. And I think they might have aired like 1 or 2 house shows from the Meadowlands on there. But I got this still from the match right here on the YouTube. This match was at 10:30 at night, Dane. I'm looking at the Coliseum clock right here.
10:30 at night.
Yes.
God.
This match will put you to sleep.
Well, how are people still even in there? And I'm hoping that wasn't the main event, because I'm sure that'd be like people flocking away from Booker T and Buff Bagwell levels of, I ain't staying for this shit.
You know what? I will say this. I did meet Boris Zukov at Big Event in Long Island back in the fall, or I think it was like back in the spring. Nice man, Boris Zukov.
Mhm.
So I got his autograph on my WWF book. So
That's fair, and I guess the less said about Jimmy, the better.
yeah, Boris Zukov, better human being than Jimmy Snuka. So Scott has a review of this tape. So
Oh,
gonna
wow.
go to yeah, searching blog. I didn't think we were gonna have a Scott review for this show until I just decided to go on Google and click Blog of Doom World Tour, and I found this.
Yeah.
So
No, I know he did some of the Coliseum videos back in the day, but not aware that he did this one. So yeah, let's go.
what a way to kick off the tape. We're going to exotic locale of Long Island for this Clash of Gladiators. What a mysterious and wonderful place it must be. I assure you, Scott, it is not a wonderful place. For reasons not adequately explored, Jimmy Hart is managing Boris here. Boris attacks and gets stumped, and Snuka hits a body press for 2 and chops him down. Zukov catches him with an elbow to the back of the head for 2 and follows with a clothesline for 2 and goes to the chinlock. However, during this lull in the action, we do find out the reason for Jimmy's managing here. Boris is subbing for a fruit-written honky-tonk man. Oh, that explains it.
Okay, so, well, kind of. It explains why Zukov is there, but doesn't explain why Slick isn't.
Maybe because Jimmy was contractually obligated to be the manager, maybe?
But that's, yeah, I guess that now makes sense.
Snuka fights back with chops, but Boris chokes him out on the ropes and goes back to the chinlock. Snuka fights out of this predicament, gets rid of Jimmy Hart, and then finishes quickly with the Superfly Splash at 720. 0 for 1. Yeah, he doesn't even bother with star ratings. He just says, good, bad.
Yeah. That was his thing with the Coliseum video review. He doesn't do star ratings. He just does it if it's a good or bleh match. And yeah, this was just bleh.
Well, good news, Dane. We get a honky-tonk man versus Jimmy Snuka match.
Okay, so we're making up for what should have been the first match to begin with.
Yep. So we're at Madison Square Garden. Let's go back to Scott. Thank God we get this match after all. So we're going back to the old country for this one with a garden setting in the city of York, or rather New York in Madison Square Garden, but still very exotic. Snuka dominates with his usual stuff for a bit, but misses a charge and Honk takes over. Snuka stops to threaten Jimmy Hart, and they fight on the floor, which results in Honky hitting the post. Jimmy kicks Snuka in the ribs. However, Snuka misses a splash on the way back in. Honky gets 2 and goes to the chinlock off that. Snuka fights back, but Honky suplexes him in from the apron and follows with a pile driver. This apparently means it's time for the shake, rattle, and roll, but he literally spends more than a minute walking around the ring and bragging to the fans about it, which allows Snuka to make the comeback and finish with a flying headbutt at 10:25. Marginally better than the Boris match, finish was weird because Honky was oriented the wrong way, so you could see Snuka trying to adjust his leap in midair and then settling for a headbutt on the way down instead. 0 for 2.
Well, it was a better match at least than the first one. More so because Honky's a better worker, I guess, but then Zukov, but that's kind of not saying much.
I do appreciate that the commentary team for this match was Tony
Oh, yes.
and Hillbilly Jim. Man of the people, Hillbilly Jim. If you know, you know.
Yes.
Okay, I have to explain this. There was
Yes,
a Howard
explain.
Stern prank call with Sal and Richard like a number of years ago where they prank called a wrestling show. And this call's so great because Richard Christie calls in first and he's like, I miss Adrian Adonis, I miss King Kong Bundy, and I miss Conquistador. And he keeps talking about all these wrestlers he missed for like.
I think the best part was he threw in Flash Funk when he's mentioning like Terry Funk and Dory Funk and Hoss Funk and Flash Funk.
And then I miss Manu. What a deep cut, Manu.
Yeah.
Which doesn't even fit with the Cold era at all. But then Sal calls in and he talks about Hillbilly Jim. Oh, yeah, he was a man of the people. Y'all, one time I was at Mobile, Alabama at a show. And afterwards, I met Hillbilly Jim and we went to the bathroom. And hey, I don't even want to say it, but it was like. But anytime Hillbilly Jim comes up, I text my brother, hey, Hillbilly Jim, man of the people. All right, so we got a fan favorite match, Dane. This match was requested by a viewer.
Mm-hmm.
Carl Murphy from Port Washington, New York, requested Bret Hart against Dino Bravo.
That is such a random match. And obviously, this is not the infamous one that Bret talks about on Wrestling with Shadows, where he had injured his sternum and Dino still decides to work stiff with him over it, and Bret takes the count out loss to him.
Yeah, wasn't that a Maple Leaf Gardens house show?
I think so, yes.
Because the vibe of that arena looked like Maple Leaf Gardens.
I would have to watch that again and see for sure.
Okay, so let's go to the promos that Dino with Jimmy, along with Bret, are going to cut here for this match.
But first, let's go to the Hitman and the Canadian Strongman.
Hey, Dino, Carl Murphy right there in Port Washington, New York. Wanted to see a little matchup with you, Bret Hitman Hart. First of all, Carl, I'm sorry about you living in Port Washington, man. Everybody can't live in Montreal like Dino.
You know, Bret Hart's got a lot of qualification. He's one of the finest technicians in the World Wrestling Federation. He's got all the flying move, and he's rugged, and his biggest quality, he's got a lot of desire. But it's just not enough when you have to face the world's strongest man. You're gonna find out, Carl Murphy.
Okay, Carl Murphy, you got it. All your friends from Port Washington, New York, finally get to see the Hitman step in the middle of the ring with Dino Bravo, the world's supposed strongest man. Let's see a little speed up against a little strength. Dino Bravo, the Hitman's gonna destroy you.
And this wouldn't be Bret's only match against the supposed world's strongest man, as we had the infamous Bret versus Ted Arcidi match somewhere in the past.
Was that on like a Boston Garden House show or something on Nesson?
I think so.
That'd make a lot of sense because who the hell would book a Bret Hart singles match against Ted Arcidi? So let's go to Scott for this match. And we're in, I think, Paris for this match?
No.
Okay, the London Arena.
A very weird setup for this whole match because it looks like they come down they're coming down from like the stands themselves.
Oh yeah, this is like very game show-esque. These stairways are coming out of. I'm expecting like Bret to be on the Price is Right coming down to contestants row or something.
Yeah.
I think it was, since we're in England, I'm guessing this was Bruce Forsyth at the time was hosting Price is Right or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So let's go to the review from Scott for this match. This was requested by Carl Murphy from Port Washington, New York, and that's obvious proof that wrestling is fake, because what person in their right mind would request to watch a Dino Bravo match? You take that back, Scott. I assure you that in 1991, me and my brother would have been the type of people to write to Coliseum Video to request a Dino Bravo match.
Yeah, and I would have done the same too as well.
This is from London, and Bret is over like Rover here. Bravo overpowers him to start, but Bret comes back with a body press for 2 and follows with clotheslines to send Bravo to the outside. He decides to take pity on us and walk out on the match, but sadly, Jimmy Hart talks him into continuing. What an asshole. They spend thousands of dollars to erase entrance music from these, but they won't sink some money into digitally removing Dino Bravo matches. I feel like if CGI is improved to the point where Thanos can be a fully realized character in the Avengers movie, they can replace Dino with like Ted DiBiase or something. I don't think they have the technology yet.
No.
Not even with AI.
Yeah. Once we get maybe a fully realized Galactus and the Fantastic Four series that we're getting, then we can talk about possibly digitally replacing Dino Bravo matches in these tapes.
Back in, Bret works the arm, but Bravo uses the clobbering forearms and then bumps Bret off the apron and into the railing, which I believe is the infamous spot where Bret breaks his ribs. Nope, because we already just discussed it, Scott.
Yeah. It was Toronto, as we call it here in Canada.
Is that how you pronounce it in Western Canada?
Yes, that's how it's pronounced here in Western Canada.
It's like a Nevada situation.
Yep.
Back in, Bravo drops an elbow and goes to the chin lock and follows with a clothesline for 2. Bret with a backslide for 2, but Bravo bear hugs him and runs him into the turnbuckles for 2. You seriously have to give Bret credit here for bumping his ass off in an effort to get something out of Bravo. Bravo with the bear hug, but Bret fights out with elbows and goes up, and then misses a middle rope elbow. Bravo goes aerial with the flying clubbing forearm, but Bret nails him on the way down and makes the comeback. Leg drop gets 2. Small package gets 2. Backbreaker gets 2. Bret with a roll up, but Bravo blocks it, only to make the mistake of pointing to his head to indicate his intelligence. At which point, Bret drop kicks him to the floor and follows with a pescata. Bravo beats the count and suplexes Bret back in, but Bret reverses the roll up and Bravo grabs the tights and pulls him over for the pin at 15:41. So there you go. Proof of a good Bravo match. 1 for 3.
This was definitely a Bret-led match for sure. And just also weird that this is also the, I guess, early test for Vince wanting to see if Bret can make it as a single star.
Yeah, because remember they had that program with Bad News in '88 after Mania 4.
Yeah. And then I think if we're around here, 89, because then we had like him and Anvil being on separate Survivor Series teams as well. And then actually I just watched here like on the Vault, they had the Saturday night's main event there from 89 that had the Hogan Bossman cage match. And one of the matches on there was Jim the Anvil Neidhart versus Savage.
Yeah, I forgot they had that match. That was a pretty good match between Savage and Jim.
Yeah, and Sherry looking amazing in that white dress.
Oh, was she ever?
Yes.
But now we're going to go to Brussels. We're going to see Hulk Hogan doing some publicity for No Holds Barred.
I wonder how it did in the box office there in Brussels.
You know what? I could go to Box Office Mojo. Hold on a second. Let me type Box Office Mojo No Holds Barred. Okay, here we go. Can you believe this, Dane? It doesn't even give me box office numbers for international.
Oh, that's a shame.
But it did 16 million domestically.
That's, I guess, I don't know, that's okay-ish, I guess, for 89.
Yeah, I think that's all right considering 89, considering the competition it probably went up against the box office. You had what? Batman, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, maybe Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. 89 was a big year for the box office.
Yeah.
Let me just see. Oh, you know what? It did $10 million better at the box office than UHF. It only did $6 million.
Yeah, and that was almost an equally cult classic of its own.
Yeah. But you know what? UHF doesn't have Kurt Fuller. I mean, it does have Kevin McCarthy, but it, you know, you don't have that Kurt Fuller magic. Although, could you imagine a matchup of the two movies? Just imagine a tag team matchup. You could have the Hulkster and Weird Al against Kurt Fuller and Kevin McCarthy.
Oh yeah, it'd be phenomenal.
So now we're going to go to Lord Alfred Hayes, who's going to take us on a trip throughout Europe. So, Dane, this is going to be very educational as Lord Alfred's going to tour us through the entirety of Europe. All right, so let's go to Al.
You know, Hulk Hogan is having just one heck of a time here in Brussels, Belgium. The people here, they absolutely love Hulk Hogan. They're Hulkamaniacs. They love him just the same as we do back in the United States of America. Now we're back here in Paris, and we're going to have a look at some of my old haunts, and maybe I'll tell you a few stories about Paris. That is, of course, the ones that I can tell you. After that, we're going to go across the channel to my other old hometown, and that is dear old London town, and I'm sure you'll enjoy that. However, before we make any of those trips, now let us go to the Arc de Triomphe.
Now, Dane, can you describe how Al looks here in front of the Eiffel Tower?
He is standing in front of obviously a green screen of static shots, stock photo of the Eiffel Tower. And he's got sunglasses on.
He's got aviator shades on.
He's rocking them shades.
I will appreciate that they did put some wind effects to make it look like he's outside.
Oh, yeah.
Because sometimes they don't even try with these obvious
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's almost kind of like the... Thinking back there to night one of WrestleMania 41 this year, the weather guy there who did the entrance there for Jade Cargill.
The weather guy?
Yeah, they had like some weather guy talking about an incoming storm and had all these effects coming up. Like,
wait, I didn't even see this. Did he get Jim Cantor or Sam Champion to do that?
I know McAfee recognized him, right? So it could have been one of his goobers from his show that could have been doing it.
Oh, yeah, well, that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Well, enough about that. Let's see what Al's going to take us on this tour.
Yes. Well, he says the Arc de Triomphe is the first stop here. So let's go touring with Lord Al.
The Arc de Triomphe was built by Napoleon to celebrate his numerous victories across Europe. This view of the famous arch is taken from the Champs-Élysées. Napoleon loved to assemble his victorious army and march them in splendid review. This was the ideal spot. Now we descend the Champs-Élysées, arriving here at Place République. This needle-like column is a memorial from Napoleon Bonaparte's battles in Egypt. Across this imposing plaza, we can see the fine architecture of the Louvre. This was once the royal palace, but is now a world-famous gallery of fine art. Situated in this historic circle are fountains symbolizing the freedom of the people of France from hundreds of years of tyranny by their monarchy. Gosh, it's still a beautiful day in Paris. And now a very brief look at the Cathedral of Notre Dame, where in this very bell tower, the legendary but mythological Quasimodo was supposed to have set up his residence.
The mythological character from Victor Hugo's most notable book.
Imagine if Lon Chaney, like, all of a sudden showed up this tape. You see him up in the bell tower.
Up in the bell tower, ringing them cathedral bells.
We've had the Disney movie isn't out for another, like, 7 years.
Yeah.
This is my favorite place in all of Paris, the Opera House. It's also a wonderful meeting place for tourists. And now a long, lingering look at its incredible masonry before we go to my city of birth, dear old London town. And that angel with golden wings hovers over Queen Victoria's memorial statue, which stands so elegantly in front of Buckingham Palace. And there quite unmistakably are some London taxis. And here's one of the Queen's Grenadier Guards, who keeps a vigil eye over the palace for her, as we view him through these massive wrought iron gates. The Union Jack. The flag of England flutters in the wind on this lovely day over the ancient Houses of Parliament. We're standing on the south bank of the River Thames for this lovely view of both houses, the House of Lords and the House of Commons. You know, I don't think there's one person who cannot name that clock tower as being Big Ben.
Big Ben.
Big Ben. Not to be confused with Big Jimmy.
And it's a beautiful day here in London. Thank goodness it's not raining.
It's a beautiful day in London. Thank goodness it's not raining. They went on a beautiful day and they got all this B-roll footage for Al to narrate.
Yeah, well, this is almost like the were they trying to qualify for like the EI quotient for Saturday morning programming?
I don't think that was a thing yet here in the U.S.
Okay.
Although I will say this is very educational. WWF should have done like a whole series of like educational tapes.
Yeah. Like all of them narrated by Lord Alfred Hayes. He definitely has like the hello, I'm an English person voice that's like would become famous like with Sir David Attenborough's narration.
I have a great idea. Like they could have done like some promotion with like a barber school, and they would have had a series of VHS tapes. Brutus the Barber Beefcake shows you how to cut hair.
Law enforcement techniques from the Big Boss Man.
You know what? I don't know if that would have been a good thing. Nails would have had a problem with that.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's go back to Al.
Now for a more sinister place, but one of storybook quality. There is the river entrance to Traitor's Gate, leading to the Tower of London. In olden days, traitors were brought here to meet their grisly fate, the Axeman. And here is Tower Bridge.
Wait, hold on.
Did he say Axeman or Assman?
I'm an Axeman. Yeah, I'm an Axeman.
I love to chop them. I love to decapitate them.
Yeah, that was Jack the Ripper's theme song. I'm an Axeman.
And here is Tower Bridge. Romans and then Vikings fought ancient Britons along these banks, and now this ancient Brit sends you back to Sean Mooney.
Well, that's nice. He sent it back to Sean.
How nice of Lord Al to send it back to Sean Mooney, who's stuck in the sterile WWF studio there.
Yeah, I don't know what this studio Sean is in. I'm going to share it with you right now. Look at this studio. It's like very drab. It's like got like a desk here. I mean, it's world toury because you got like these columns.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got the Coliseum Video banner up here.
Couldn't spring for him to be in the event center at least, or?
I don't know. This is a world tour, so you got to give it like a grand feel, I guess.
I guess so, yeah.
But we're going to have a personality profile with Jimmy Hart.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we go to Jimmy right now?
Yeah.
So
Yes. He puts over his talent very well, actually.
Yes.
They say when you're on top, you gotta let it rock, baby. Look at this gold album, 1 million sales, Honky Tonk Records, baby, backed up by the Honky Eds, and yours truly, Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. That's right, Daddy. When you're on top, you gotta let it rock. Bushwhackers, are you ever gonna learn the lesson, man? Every time we turn around, it's the Bushwhackers. I guess they want to be singers. They want to be rock and rollers like Honky Tonk Man and Greg the Pelvis Valentine, who I call Rhythm and Blues. Every time we have a concert, all of a sudden, somebody's trying to sneak in without paying the price. Well, that's you, Bushwhackers. In WrestleMania 6, what did the Bushwhackers try to do? They came around ringside selling T-shirts and programs like a couple of vendors, man. That's a no-no, because before this little thing's over with, you're going to be doing that permanently because you ain't going to be in professional wrestling anymore. You tear up our guitars, you try to make a fool of Honky Tonk Man and Greg the Pelvis Valentine. Like I said, baby, when you're on top, you let it rock. We don't just get mad, Bushwhackers. We get even, baby. And now, he's big, he's bad. I call him Earthquake. 461 pounds. He is 6'6". Now, Hulk Hogan. A lot of people think Hulk Hogan is the greatest of all time. Well, baby, the whole world saw what we did to you, Hulk Hogan. Hey, we know you were hurt going into WrestleMania. I know it. You know it. The people know it. But you just don't want to admit it. So you know what we're going to have to do to Hulk Hogan? I'll tell you what we're going to have to do, big boy. We're going to have to make an example after you, man. We're going to have to make sure that the whole world knows that the Earthquake is going to put you out of professional wrestling forever. Because, you see, we're going to put the national disaster on you and have you put on a stretcher, man. That's right. We're going to have you stretchered, Hulk Hogan. And once and for all, everybody will know who is the greatest of all time. It is the Earthquake.
Was Greg Valentine ever referred to as Greg the Pelvis Valentine?
No.
Or is it something that maybe they thought of and then realized how stupid it sounded? Let's just leave him as the Hammer. Even though he dyed his hair black as well, too, to fit in with the whole rhythm and blues thing.
Yeah, I'm guessing probably, maybe. I don't know. Well, let's go to what I think is the best match on this tape. We're going to go to Paris for the Fabulous Rougeaus against the Rockers. And holy crap, this arena. There's like spotlights. There's like a light show. There's like this grand tunnel here.
Yeah.
That the wrestlers are coming out of.
And they got like giant sparkler fireworks there along that entranceway too. And
oh yeah, definitely.
Like I said, the ring girls there too, accompanying them with even like little placard sign, like saying what team it is.
Yeah, I have a question. Who's gonna read that sign? No one's gonna read it.
I guess since there's the big Canal Plus advertising banners there, I'm guessing maybe the Canal Plus viewers will be the ones seeing that sign.
Yeah, for those that don't know, Canal Plus is the French paid channel, which is kind of like the HBO of France, which is where Studio Canal comes from.
Yep. And sadly, they haven't caught on to the trend that is now pretty much the trend of today, where we sadly don't have the French crowd singing All American Boys.
Oh, that would have been awesome. But now let's get into the Rockers entrance. So,
yes,
we have this girl in a pink wig.
Yeah, she's got the Rocker sign there too, and the Rocker's not really rocking into the ring. They're just slowly well, now they're making a slight little jog to the ring.
I do appreciate the fact that I did mention this girl really looks like Jewel Staite's mother, or the clone of Jewel Staite in 1989.
That could have been possible, as she was close to making her acting debut here in Canada around that time. So
I'll always have space cases. I know she's done like many things, especially Firefly, but you know what? It's space cases for me. So
bit of a downer that she actually played in a movie called Liar Liar, with not the Jim Carrey one, but this was a made for CBC movie that was about that may or may not have been making up accusations of being abused by her father.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was this based on a true story?
I don't know if it was based on a true story or not.
Okay, so let's go into the Scott review to get us on a lighter note.
Yes.
Some quality pun work from Mooney to set this one up. And this is from France, and the teams are just waiting to escargot at it. They say that puns are the lowest form of humor, but those people just aren't trying hard enough. Rougeaus do some stalling and running away to start, and the Rockers work on Ray's leg while Gorilla and Alfred reminisce about the old days working in France for a crooked promoter. Yeah, they mentioned that.
And they mentioned in my name too, I think. I forgot what his name was. They actually name dropped him and like pretty much said that, well, yeah, I'm glad he's dead kind of thing.
Like we said the last time we did a Coliseum videotape, it's obvious Vince did not care about the commentary on these tapes.
No. I would love to hear the B-reels from these recordings. I'm sure Gorilla and Lord Owl probably had more unsavory things to say about this promoter.
Funny run with Hebner getting distracted by the Rougeaus while the Rockers switch off without tags behind his back, which angers the Rougeaus even more. I love little touches like that in tag matches, and I miss them these days. Who would ever accuse Shawn Michaels of being a liar, or Marty Jannetty of breaking walls? Sadly, Shawn eventually gets too cute, and the Rougeaus double team him in turn, holding him by the mullet in their corner and beating on it. Ray slams him onto Jack's knee for 2, and a double team elbow follows. Ray uses the Montreal martial arts to put Shawn on the floor with a savate kick. It goes to chinlock in the ring. Shawn takes his usual giant backdrop bump, and the Rougeaus keep switching off on a facelock, and we get the classic fight for the tag as the ring is cut off. Finally, after a pair of false tags, Marty gets the hot tag and throws a knee lift on Jack. But the ref is busy. Backslide, still no ref, and that finally gets 2. Gorilla is again on his you need 2 referees deal. But once he became president, that's sure, and probably due to budget constraints placed on him.
Well, yeah, 'cause I mean, 95, 96 was the lean years for WWF, so.
Yeah, Gorilla could propose his 2 referee plan to get past the WWF Senate.
Yep.
Jack with a pile driver while Ray is distracting the ref, but Shawn uses the same distraction to pile drive Jack in turn. And Marty gets the pin at 14-19. Very entertaining, 2 for 4.
I forgot how great of a tag team the Rougeaus were.
Oh, I always knew how good the Rougeaus were. We saw later how good Jacques was in the team with Pierre with the Quebecers.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even I would say Ray was quite underrated as a wrestler, but I guess better things were for him as a interviewer / I think he then also did the French commentary team as well later on.
Yup, he did. Now, Dane, let's go to the Egg Dome in Tokyo, where we are going to have a WWF title match between the Ultimate Warrior and the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase.
Who's without Virgil for some reason.
I guess Virgil didn't want to make the trip to Japan. Maybe he was trying to find some Olive Gardens in Japan and was sadly shut out. He didn't realize, there's no Olive Gardens in Japan because they don't have like real Italian food.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. This is from that All Japan, New Japan WWF show in 1990.
But Greg, AEW invented the multi-show thing with Forbidden Door.
Yeah, my ass, they did. Man, if they think that's shocking, wait till they find out that AAA did this in 1994.
What? This is a Mexican promotion working with an American promotion?
Yeah, well, we're going to find that out soon enough. Oh,
worlds are colliding.
I also think this is from the same Super Show where we had that Hulk Hogan Stan Hansen match.
I think so, yeah.
That's a pretty damn good match.
Actually, yeah, because I watched, I think I saw it watched it on YouTube with, I think Sean Mooney and Laura Alfred Hayes were actually doing the commentary for it.
And also in that same show, there's a Greg the Hammer Valentine Great Kabuki match with Shane refereeing. And do you know what the entrance theme for Greg the Hammer Valentine was?
What was it?
She's Got the Look by Roxette.
That's
Now, just imagine Rhythm and Blues Greg Valentine coming out to the ring to She's Got the Look.
And I thought my idea of putting in Frankie Goes to Hollywood's Relax for Undertaker's entrance on one of the 2K games would be amusing.
Well, let's get to the Scott review. We went over this in a lot of the Observer flashbacks from this period, but basically Vince promised them a Hogan title defense and then switched the belt to Warrior, and the Japanese were unimpressed. Yeah, the Japanese probably were not fans of Warrior, I bet.
No, I don't think so.
Doesn't have that big enziguri drop kick like Hogan does.
Nope.
Warrior dumps DiBiase to start as Vince notes that Virgil was prevented from being there, and he doesn't get involved in international politics, so he can't speak to the reasons. Cough, cough. They crisscross and DiBiase face plants him and chops away to take over, then puts him down with a clothesline, while the crowd is clearly cheering for DiBiase. Yeah, they were going nuts for Ted.
Yeah. I think probably too, because I think Ted had some cred with the crowd from probably back from his Mid-South days.
Yeah, I think he would do All Japan shows back when he was with Mid-South.
Yeah.
DiBiase with chops in the corner, and he drops the fist, and a suplex gets 2, while the crowd reactions get bigger with every move. Piledriver gets 2, but Warrior makes his comeback and finishes with a big splash at 6'11". Huge disappointment, crazy crowd reaction aside, 2 for 5. Yeah, I would have to agree for this.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you have Ted, who's the best worker in the company to pair with Warrior, but I mean,
who other than, I mean, they're starting to build up for that anyways, for that SummerSlam. Because I guess you could have also gone with Rick Rude, I guess.
yeah, but you also want to save that for SummerSlam.
Yeah, like I said, that's like, yeah. And since they got Hogan on later, and if I said this is the same show that, yeah, they got Hogan on later facing Hanson, that could have been a more interesting draw if Hogan's had the championship.
Oh, against Hanson? Yeah, that would be awesome. Could have sold that to the Japanese fans.
Yeah.
And I think this show, too, Demolition has a tag match against Andre and Baba. I'm going to guess that Andre and Baba probably won by DQ or some shit.
Yeah. Because I think I saw another, later on, there was another match with Andre and Baba against, like, a team called, like, the Land of the Giants, which was just two big, roidy, muscled guys. And good Lord, was that, like, painful to watch. More so on, you can just tell, like, this was still, like, Andre that's, like, I think could have been, like, around the same time that's before he got kayfabed injured by Earthquake, when Jimmy Hart was trying to recruit him, and then he was managing the Bushwhackers, and then we had the formation of the Natural Disasters, and so that was kind of before that. But even just Baba himself was just like, I was like, no wonder Mrs. Baba would take a shine to a young John Laurinaitis.
Oh, yeah. I guess she had like a fetish for his Super Dave voice.
Yes.
You know, on the Vault channel for Andre's birthday, they put like 25 minutes of rare Andre stuff.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of that.
And one of them near the end is like a thing at like a house show with Andre and Baba with Demolition, I guess, to set up the match.
Okay.
I'm guessing this was probably for Japanese television.
More than likely.
Yeah, because who in America would give a shit about Giant Baba?
Other than the nichest fans already. Like, maybe, yeah, like all the other Observer News subscribers.
Now let's go back to London, where we have a match from 1989 between King Hacksaw Jim Duggan and the Honky Tonk Man. You know what the irony of this match is, Dane? This is taking place in London, and we have an American as a king.
And, of course, leading in the crowd in the USA chant.
Yeah, Hacksaw had no idea where he was from when he was doing these chants. Like, you realize where you are, Jim. I'm guessing maybe because the UK is aligned with the US, that it makes sense, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, or they still appreciate monarchs of some sort, even though fair play to Duggan, he leaned into the whole goofy aspect of the king gimmick there, like the crown and flapping the cape around like Dracula there in the ring.
You know what I loved about his king reign? The SummerSlam 89 match where he had the American flag face paint.
Yes. Didn't he also make a little crown for his 2x4 too?
Oh yeah, he made a nice, cute little crown for the 2x4 on there. And I think Myers and Cordona, for their Big Rubber Guys LJN inspired toy line, they had a Big Rubber Guys of Duggan in the USA face paint from SummerSlam 89. So that would be like nice to have on your mantle.
Yeah.
Now let's head to Scott for this stellar classic, in quotation marks. Back to London for this one as Honky runs away immediately, and it's stall until Duggan finally hauls him in to take over. Yeah, because I think, doesn't Jimmy get on the mic at one point?
Yeah, he gets on the mic and tells the crowd doesn't settle down. Honky's not going to stick around and sing for them.
Oh, that would be terrible, Dane.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to hear Honky sing. Duggan messes up the hair and hits an atomic drop, then pounds on him in the corner before going after Jimmy and getting choked out as a result. Honky with a half-ass chinlock, but Duggan fights up before walking into a knee. Honky with a back elbow for 2. Blind charge misses, and Duggan makes the comeback and slugs away before finishing with a 3-point stance at 9:05. Nothing to this one, 2 for 6.
So I'm actually surprised to see Honky take 2 losses here.
Oh, yeah. Honky wouldn't stand for taking like 2 losses at once.
No.
All right, now let's go to the main event of this tape. We have the Hulkster defending the WWF title against Macho Man Randy Savage. And guess what, Dane? Guess who comes back for this final match of the tape? We got the Wig Girls with the signs again.
And we're back in Paris as well, too. And we got the fireworks and the strange long tunnel there. And Savage looking like a boss there. And Sherry with her face painted for some, I guess she's going for some avant-garde French expressionism art or something with that.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, now we got Elizabeth coming out with, well, we got Sign Girl in front of Elizabeth and pretty much the Vince Mafia entourage here with Pat Patterson and Blackjack Lanza and probably Tony Garea, maybe.
Bonds, why does this woman have a pink wig on?
No one chaperoning the Hulkster, though. Well, he's...
Well, no, everyone's trying to protect Liz.
Yeah. Somewhere in this match, we apparently get a wild Terry Garvin sighting because Gorilla Monsoon points it out and makes the Terry Garvin School of Self-Defense joke.
Wait, hold on. He's in the entourage?
It was either somewhere in the entourage or somewhere else at ringside or something. He pointed out Terry Garvin, and yeah.
That's amazing.
It's amazing that Garvin was still around there. It's because I thought he would have been given to heave ho, or was it later on that everything came out with the Ring Boy scandal?
I think Garvin and Patterson were gone after the scandal, then Patterson came back.
Yeah, but Garvin never did. And neither did Mel Phillips, or he came back for a bit and then he was gone again.
Yeah, well, good. And he's dead now, so.
Yeah.
Fuck him. All right, so let's head to Scott for the main event of the tape. Hogan has Elizabeth in his corner for this, and they're escorted by Pat Patterson and Terry Garvin, while Gorilla and Alfred bury them on commentary in a funny bit. No idea who the security guards are. They look like a couple of short, fat French guys. No one of any note. It always galled me at the time that Hogan was wearing Savage's rightful belt, and it still stings. Well, Savage lost the belt, Scott. What are you going to do? He pinned him in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, come on, Scott. You got to get over this. It's been like 35 years.
Technically, that was even Hogan's belt to begin with. We didn't have all the shenanigans of the
main
two
event.
Refs of the main event. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all DiBiase's fault. He paid for the plastic surgery.
He paid for the plastic surgery. He paid off Andre to surrender the belt to him once he won.
Oh, wait a minute. You know who I think it was really responsible for giving Ted the idea to give the plastic surgery to Earl?
Who?
That piece of shit, Stanley Blackburn. See? It's that fucking Stanley Blackburn. His influence goes everywhere. He fucking can't let a babyface win a title or hold on to a title. He's got to fuck He fucked Hogan at Super Sunday. He's like, I'm going to fuck Hogan in WWF one day. I'll tell you that. I'm going to, get my tentacles in there and I'm going to fucking fuck him over. Savage runs away to start and the vicious burial continues. Say, Alfred, am I mistaken or is that Terry Garvin back there? Yes, Terry Garvin is always around the back of something or other.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, my God.
What was Scott thinking?
No, it might even be on the tape for what we just
yes, that was on the tape. Yes, so it's definitely like I said, and after that, that's when Gorilla says that Terry Garvin's the president, secretary, and whatever else of the Terry Garvin School of Self-Defense.
Okay, I have it queued up here, so hold on a second. I found the spot on the tape. So that's a good thing that YouTube has the transcript available for this tape on here. All right, so let me play it.
Or is that Terry Garvin in the background there, Your Lordship?
That is Terry Garvin. He's always round the back of something or other.
The
the president and vice president and recording secretary treasurer of the Terry Garvin School of Self-Defense.
Yes.
Again, it's like, I guess, yeah, like we said before, Vince must not have given a fuck about any of the recordings for the Coliseum videotapes.
Because how the hell would that get approved? So 4 minutes in, and Savage is stalling and cutting a promo, and even the announcers are getting sick of it. Then finally, Savage and Sherry just team up and beat on Hogan in the ring. So Hulk clears the ring, while the idiot referee just lets it all happen. Wait, who is refereeing this match? Oh, it's some ref I don't even know who it is. It's probably some French ref.
Yeah.
They couldn't even get Earl to make the trip, probably.
Earl or Danny Davis.
They couldn't even get Jack Kruger to make an appearance. Hogan slugs away as the match finally starts and hits the corner elbow while Sherry shrieks at ringside, but Hulk goes after her again, and Savage puts him on the floor with a high knee. Back in, Savage chokes him down and follows with the double axe handle for 2. Savage with an endless chin lock, but Hulk fights out and then goes after Sherry again, and Savage gets a bad double axe handle for 2. Hulk up time, big boot, slap from Liz, and a leg drop finish at 11:57. This was la horseshit, as the French say, 2 per 7.
I wouldn't say it was. I mean, they had better matches and stuff, but it was a definite, like, send the fans home happy kind of type house show vibe to it, I think.
Yeah. And you know what? The French, they were happy to see the Hulkster get the win.
Oh
here.
yeah, exactly. That's the thing too. Like it's another country. It that gets live events as it is. 89 Hogan is like undoubtedly on top of the business. It was a happening for sure in France that night.
Yeah. Scott wasn't a big fan of this tape. And yeah, the matches aren't great, but you know what? I had fun watching this.
I would sooner watch this than half the stuff that's like I that's something I wish that I guess that's changed now with the whole biz. Like I would like to see like tapes or compilations like this made again, like random matches from different areas, different house shows or whatever, and even just doing fun little things like the Lord Alfred Hayes' tour there.
Yeah, I mean that was educational as shit. I loved that whole thing.
Well, here we got the Clash in Paris happening here soon, so why not get like Kathy Kelly and Jackie Redmond like leading us on a tour of Paris?
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd like to have a tour of Paris with Kathy Kelly. That would be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Maybe she could invite Rhea to it too.
Yeah, exactly. Or hell, like now that's or now they're getting the Crown Jewel in Perth and the whole big thing there too, the TKO takeover. I mean, in Australia next in October. Maybe you can go do a walkabout with Rhea.
Wait, they're gonna have Crown Jewel in Australia?
Apparently, yeah.
I guess to make up for the fact that the Rumble's going to the Blood Money country.
I think Blood Monday country is also getting Night of Champions as well. So,
well, that's 2 PLEs I'm not gonna watch. Oh well.
Yeah.
But we did have fun watching this, and you know what? I gotta appreciate the people at the Vault channel on YouTube. They're putting up some cool stuff on there.
For sure, yeah. Like that's between the tape releases and actually now that they're also starting to put on like random superstars episodes as well too. Like last couple Saturdays I watched both of them on there. The one of the main event where Berserker just about impales the Undertaker with his broadsword.
And then, yeah, that was great.
And then the last one here, we had Papa Shango setting the jobber's feet on fire, and also
oh yeah,
as well as the recap of all of his hex he put on the Ultimate Warrior with him convulsing and vomiting up bile and the black ooze. And of course, the most important thing, we also had the Big Boss Man beating up a random jobber, and then of course getting blindsided by the recently freed from prison Nails.
Oh, you know what? I got it queued up right here. Let me play it. I want to watch this. We got to kill some time before we wrap this up. So
Yeah.
it's not even. Well, it just turned 11 here as we're recording this. But you know what? I feel jealous. Let's play this because I don't think we're ever going to talk about nails.
This
Reduces
this
92. So
yeah.
let's play it.
But Dino Dub is a bit skittish these days, and justifiably so. Well, if you know who's facing you, it's one thing. If you don't know who they are, then naturally you have certain reason to be concerned. See, now look where the ball. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Who is that man? I have no idea who that is. Who is he? I don't know who that is, McMahon. That's the guy. That's the guy. That's got to be him. That's got to be him. There's the number. What's he doing? Look. That's got to be the man. There, use the ball. He's using the boss man stick on himself. But you saw the boss man probably use it on him. I don't think in the guts. Come on. I've been waiting to see who this is. Look at the size of this guy. Boss man, you don't look so tough now. Oh, no. A knee right in the face. Looked like it knocked his teeth out. He kneed him right in the face. Again. My goodness. What goes around?
Vince saying that's gotta be him. It's like the same energy as like Bad Blood 97, like when Kane debuts. That's gotta be Kane. That's gotta be Kane.
That's gotta be Kane. Vault Channel, you're releasing gold, and God bless you for it.
Yeah, and then they're keeping up too with WCW. Like I actually watched a couple weekends ago too, when they put out Capital Combat 90, the Return of RoboCop.
Oh, the Return of RoboCop.
And apparently, I heard that they're planning to do a similar thing for ECW. So I'm kind of looking forward to that as well to see what they
have in store. Although, get ready for a lot of dubbing on those episodes.
Oh yeah. And probably a lot of scrubbing of New Jack, too.
You know what I do hope they have, though, on the ECW channel when that launches? The night Kimono Wanalea danced atop the ECW
Oh, yes. That's the big one.
Yeah. Everyone remembers the night Kimono Wanalea danced atop the ECW arena.
Yep.
I wonder when the Eagles celebrate their Super Bowl banner, are they going to have, like, Kimono Wanalea dance atop Lincoln Financial Field?
If they can find her, I bet they could get her to do it one more time.
Yeah, everyone at the freaking Lincoln Financial Field would go nuts for seeing Kimono Wanalea dance on top of Lincoln Financial Field. Okay, but the next time we're on the Squared Circle Time Machine, Dane, well, we're going to have Worlds Collide in NXT soon with AAA.
Yes.
Why don't we go back 31 years ago to the last time Worlds collided? Yeah. AAA and IWC, along with WCW, teaming up to give us this epic pay-per-view that everyone remembers and reveres when Worlds Collide 1994. And, hey, we're going to get Eddie Guerrero and Art Barr on this episode, so that's going to be exciting.
The mullets will be a-flying.
Yeah, along with Louis Spicoli as Madonna's boyfriend, which is, I think, the best gimmick name for a wrestler ever. But we'll discuss that when we go to When Worlds Collide 1994 on the Squared Circle Time Machine. I'm Greg, that was Dane, and we'll see you with that episode coming real soon. Take care, everybody.
And you know, Gorilla, these French people, they really know their wrestling. They haven't changed since we used to wrestle here about 20 years ago, huh?
20
Yes.
A long time ago.
Indeed.
This arena was not around then, Your Lordship.
No, this is a brand new arena. You're absolutely right. It used to be the old Palais de Sport,
Palais de Sport, yes.
where we used to wrestle, and what great crowds they had there, too.
If I remember, the promoter was a little shady, though, Your Lordship.
Yes, Alex Goldstein.
Yeah, he's passed away now, hasn't he?
Yes, he has.
Good riddance to